This webinar Wednesday, I'm joined by Lakeshia Nnamani, the early childhood boss herself. Lakeshia is a childcare business owner with her program in Texas, in Houston, Texas. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Laugh and Discover.
Yes, ma'am.
Lakeshia is an early childhood educator, and as one, she has served as a pre-kindergarten and a kindergarten teacher, preschool owner, child development professor, and early childhood trainer. Moreover, while her on-the-job experience has afforded her a well-rounded skill set, Lakeshia also has a solid educational foundation and a passion for teaching our youngest learners and supporting early childhood professionals. I have been following you, Lakeshia, for a while, and I love watching the different educational activities that you have going on in your classroom with the kids. I think it's so impressive. I can tell that they're actually learning. I can tell that that is something that you really focus on with making sure your teachers are actually teaching. And I'm so glad to have you back on, because if you guys don't know, Lakeshia was on our very first webinar. I didn't know what I was doing at that time. And I just wanted to get a whole bunch of leaders within the industry on the same meeting and talking about this pandemic. This was back in May of last year. And that webinar replay is up on childcaresites.com/webinars. If you guys want to go ahead and watch it after this one, it's still there and available for you to watch. But now Lakeshia is back to tell us everything about CDAs, and I am ready to tune in and listen. She already taught me something new, that you don't have to get your CDA in the same state that you're working in. And I didn't know that. So I'm glad to know that there's options outside of what's available in my area. So with that, I'll let you take it away, Lakeshia. Thank you for being here.
All right, let's go get started. Thank you guys for joining. And I'm going to just jump right in. Okay, let's see. All right, so today we're going to be talking all about the CDA process. I have been teaching CDA classes for the last 2 going on 3 years. I'm very passionate about making sure that teachers are educated and teachers have the knowledge so that they can impact our youngest learners. So today we're going to be talking about get those teachers CDA certified. All right. And we're going to be talking about the benefits. So we're going to dive in why your teacher should become CDA certified. So you can know why. Like, you hear the word CDA, Child Development Associates, but why does it matter to you as a director and owner? Why should you be a part of the process of making sure your teachers are CDA certified? What are the steps to become CDA certified? So maybe you don't have your CDA, but that's something that you're interested in because maybe you desire to own your own childcare center one day, or maybe you don't have that CDA qualification, but you want to have that as well so that you are a model to your teachers. We'll talk about that and how you can help them become CDA certified. So what are some tips and tricks that you can do as the director and owner to ensure that your teachers are ready for the process? And let's get started. Let's jump into it. So we kind of introduced to me already. I'm Mrs. Lakeshia Nnamani. I have an academic-based preschool in Houston, and I'm also a consultant and the CEO of Ece Consulting. I teach early childhood leaders how to build high-quality preschool programs by focusing on kindergarten readiness, teacher development, and licensing compliance. So I'm very heavy on that teacher development. I was a teacher in the classroom for 4 years. And so I take that experience, everything that I learned in my studies at my university, I applied that in the classroom as a pre-K and kindergarten teacher in the public school setting, but I also took that with me as a director and an owner. And so I like to spend a lot of time in the classrooms with the teachers, cultivating them to make sure that they know what to do. I understand that I have high level of experience in education in the early childhood field because I've been doing it since I have been literally in high school, my 12th grade year. But all the teachers that we may hire for our program may not be as educated, they might not be as experienced. And so it's our job as the director and the owner to help them get there. So, why should your teachers become CDA certified? What are some of the benefits of your teachers becoming CDA certified? All right, so we can talk about increasing the quality. So, I'm big on making sure that the early childhood experiences that we provide, we are improving the quality of the children in our care. So, when teachers know more, they can do more, they can perform better, and the children will learn more. All right. And so, as your teachers are becoming CDA certified, they're learning more and more about the early childhood field. They're learning about what it means to be a professional. They're learning about child growth and development, fun learning activities. They're learning all of these amazing things, and they can pour that back into your program. And so I always tell my bosses, my early childhood bosses, that we can be an amazing director and owner all day. We can be credentialed down, have 10 letters behind our name, okay? But if the teachers in that classroom are not teaching, if they are not holding your curriculum to its highest standard, then all your education and experience it goes out the window, because the teachers are the face of your preschool business. They're the ones that are interacting with the children, interacting with the parents. All right, so we want to make sure that they're good. So all the knowledge that we have, we want to transfer to them, or we want to help them gain that knowledge as well. Also, if you are interested in being in your state quality center program, so for example, many states have an initiative that promotes early childhood centers to provide high quality care. And so they usually do a star rating. So, for example, I am in Texas. And so our state accrediting service for early childhood centers is Texas Rising Star. And so they can award your center 2-star, 3-star, or 4-star. All right. And so one of the criteria that they're looking for to determine the quality of your center is the educational background of your teachers. So the more education that my teachers have, it boosts my overall score up. All right. And I want my score to be high, and you want your score to be high, because the higher the score they rank you with, that's going to determine your star rating level. And that will ultimately determine how much money that the state may pour into you. So, for example, and I can only speak for my state, but I encourage you to look into your state's quality initiative program. For every star rating that we get, so the highest is a 4-star, and my preschool is a 4-star preschool in Texas, we receive more money than what a 3-star or a 2-star center receives. When it comes times for grant and different type of stipends and just different goodies, 4-star centers get a lot of those grant opportunities. All right. So there's benefits for your teachers being CDA certified, because that again will boost your overall preschool culture, your learning experience for your teachers, and for your students, but also it will help you stand out in your community. You can use that to boost in your tours and your marketing that you have CDA certified teachers. And then it also will help you with your state quality program. All right. So these are all amazing reasons. I can run a long list on the important reasons why the teacher should be CDA certified. Okay. But I just wanted to give a couple. But I also want to say it will also increase their confidence. All right. So, a lot of times in the early childhood industry, we may have teachers in our program and their highest level of education currently may be their high school diploma or their GED, all right? And so for whatever reason, they haven't started their journey into college, or maybe that's not what they want for themselves, but allowing them and giving them the opportunity to potentially get their CDA credential, you're boosting their confidence, all right? That is so important, all right? So the steps to become CDA certified. So it's important for you to know as a director and owner, what are the steps to become CDA certified? Because it will help you prepare your teachers, and it also will give you a reality check on how long it will take your teachers to become CDA certified. So we're going to go through the different steps. So the first step is that they must have their diploma or their GED, their high school diploma or their GED. They must have that. That's the very basic requirement of it. In many states, our teachers are probably already coming to us with that diploma or that GED already. But if you live in a state where that is not a requirement to work with you, then you want to help your teachers first obtain their high school diploma or their GED, because that is going to start the process for them. 2, they must have 480 hours of experience, all right? And so roughly if they work 40 hours a week, that's just 12 weeks, all right? That's just 12 weeks. So they must have experience. So if you just hired someone and you are their first preschool experience, then you wouldn't be able to encourage them to get their CDA the next day because they wouldn't have met the hours, all right? And so the hours of experience needs to be in a childcare setting, all right? And they're going to show quote unquote proof of these hours through their resume that they have provided. They may also, depending on your state may have a registry where it logs the hours and the years of experience that they have. So based on your state will determine how you will prove the hours of operation, the hours of experience that's required. Okay. But it's important that you are encouraging your teachers, once they've been working with you, you are encouraging them to be CDA certified. So one of the things that you can do is you can either, some centers require teachers to be CDA certified before they even start. And then some centers give the teachers an opportunity to gain it later. Like that could be a part of your process after a teacher has been with you for a certain amount of months and you know that they've met the experience qualification, then you may recommend that they enroll into a CDA program. So they have the option to pick a credential. So you can get a credential in infant toddler. So that's anywhere from birth to roughly about 35 months. If they work with that age group, then they would want to get the infant toddler credential. If they work with 3 through 5-year-olds, they would want to get the preschool credential. All right. And then another credential that they are able to receive as well is the family child care credential. So one of the things that I get asked often is it possible to receive multiple credentials? Like, can you get your infant toddler and can you get your preschool? Yes, you surely can, but you have to go through the entire CDA process again, because the whole process of the CDA credential, it is catered around the age group that you choose, because when you finish this credential, you're like a quote unquote expert in that area. So if you picked infant toddler, you are an expert in the infant toddler area. If your teachers are getting their credential in preschool, they're saying that they are an expert in the preschool field, and family child care is a mix of infant, toddler, and preschool. So it's important that the teachers think long and hard on which credential they would like to start off with first. All right. Even if it is a dream for them to get multiple, you want to make sure that you guide them into, what you may, to determine what credential they get, you may look into what classroom are they currently in. Also, what classroom do they sort in? Like what classroom is like their jam, like they're awesome in. All right. And then that will be a conversation that you would have with them to be able to confidently pick their credential. Next, your teachers have to receive 120 clock hours. So there are numerous programs available for CDA. So many, all right? Literally, if you Google search CDA, online course, face-to-face course, hybrid course, you will have those different options that come up. I would like to caution you to make sure that you look into the quality of the CDA programs. All right. There are some people out here who are scandalous. They just throwing up any type of program, saying it's a CDA credential. They're not teaching your teachers anything. They're not assisting your teachers through the entire process. They're not available like they say. So you want to find a respected CDA program so that your teachers are effective and your teachers gain the knowledge. If the whole reason why you are signing them up for the CDA program is because you want them to be educated, then you want to pick a program that's actually going to educate them. All right. You're not going to pick a program that, okay, well, it was $50, so I just signed them up for that $50 program just because I looked at the price. No, you're going to actually look on their website, see if they got some Google reviews, look them up on social media. You're going to do your due diligence because you want to make sure that you're picking a quality program for them. And again, like I said, you want to do that research and you want to make sure, and there's different methods. There are some self-paced options where the teachers can go at their own pace. But this will allow that teacher has to be an initiator. All right. And they have to be able to look at the videos, look at the modules, and kind of work at their own pace. And as the director and owner, you kind of know your teachers, so you'll know which model fits them best. And again, you will encourage them based on what you feel is best for them. All right, so you have the self-paced method. You have the face-to-face where they're coming in for face-to-face classes. I used to teach face-to-face classes, loved it. I taught it over a span of about 6 months, and about every other Saturday, we had a face-to-face class where I did the lecture, but then I also had the hands-on opportunities. So for those teachers who thrive on a hands-on environment, then you want to encourage them to do the face-to-face option. Now, I know at the recording of this webinar, we are unfortunately in the state of the pandemic. So there may not be as many face-to-face options right now, but you want to keep checking because that will soon change. There will be some CDA programs that will go face-to-face because they know that our early childhood educators need that, and they're offering it in a small group setting. All right. So you want to look and see if your teachers are in need of that. You want to make sure that you are providing that option for them. So you have the online, the self-paced method. We have the face-to-face option. And then we also have the hybrid, which some programs do a little bit of both. They have some classes where you come face to face, whether it's on a Saturday, like how I did it, or maybe they come for a couple of hours on a weekday. And they do that for a couple of days. And then other days, they have work that they do online. All right. So based on those three options, self-paced / online, we have the face-to-face method, we have the hybrid method. There are different options. You want to look and, understand your teachers to know what's best for them and what they need, and you want to plan accordingly for that. So the 120 clock hours is divided by 8 different subject areas that I'm going to briefly describe what your teachers will be learning at that time. And remember, you guys, if you have any questions at any point in time, I would like for you to put that in the question and answer box so that when we get to the live Q&A section of the webinar, I'm able to read that and answer right away. So don't forget to drop that in there. I love, love, love to answer questions and make sure that everyone gains clarity from my webinar. All right, so we have 120 clock hours, all right, and it is broken up in 8 different subject areas, and these are different topics that your teachers will be learning more about, all right, and they must receive at least 10 hours in each subject area. Now, if you do the math, then 10 times 8 is 80. So, of course, some topic areas will have more than the 10, but just know that the national credential requirement is that they have at least 10 in every subject area, all right? 10. So, safe and healthy learning environment. During this course, they will be learning about your child care licensing laws. They'll be learning a lot about that. Hand washing, diaper changing, first aid, emergency preparedness, allergy reaction, supervision, risk management. These are some of the topics that they're going to be learning about in the safe and healthy learning environment. B, intellectual and physical development. During this section, they will be learning about just how to create lesson plans. So creating fun activities, literacy, math, science, social studies, creative arts, learning centers, classroom designs, outdoor play, fine motor, gross motor, how to promote healthy eating and nutrition. These are the type of things that they will be learning about in the intellectual and physical development section. In the social emotional development section, they will be learning a lot about how to encourage the children to be independent, so those self-help skills, how to provide encouragement and praises for their self-esteem, how to give them the skills that they need so that they can thrive in a social setting. These are all of the things that they will be learning about in the social emotional. All right. And then, oops, you guys, let me go back. Then we have, okay, you guys. Oop. All right. So D down there
Can I
is
add
family
something,
partnerships.
Lakeshia, really quick? I forgot to mention in the beginning that if anybody has questions, please use the Q&A box. I do see a question in there that we will get to at the end. I just want to make sure that Nicole doesn't think we're ignoring her question. But we're going to address questions at the end. So as Lakeshia goes through her slides, go ahead and add your questions into the box. Sorry, Lakeshia.
Thank you. No problem. Thank you. That helped me through my tech difficulties I was having. All right. So D is family partnerships, one of my favorite topics to teach about. And so in the family partnership section, and I say we as I'm teaching it, but your teachers will be learning about how to build a strong relationship with the families in your program. So how to communicate with them, how to make them feel comfortable in the classroom, how to promote diversity, how to be a resource to your family. These are the type of things that they're going to be learning in the family partnerships. And I know that as you're hearing me say some of these things, you're beginning to learn the benefits of having your teacher CDA certified, because they're going to be learning so much. And with this wealth of knowledge, they're truly going to improve the quality of your program. All right, program management. During the program management section, they will learn a lot about like different leadership styles. They will learn about like record keeping as far as like the files, the incident reports, how to like plan lesson plans effectively, like as far as curriculum plan. And F for professionalism, they will be learning about just the different opportunities that they have available in the early childhood field. Just what all positions can they do inside of a preschool without it just being a teacher or assistant director or a director. We talk a lot about just other things that they can do in the preschool. They can be over curriculum, they can be over social media, like they could be the trainer. They can be, when a new teacher comes, they are the trainer. So we just talk about just their growth plan, how they can grow in the preschool that they are in. And then we also potentially talk about their next steps after the CDA. Like what can they do once they've obtained their CDA, then if they want to do something more, what that something more looks like. Observation. So G is about observation. We talk all about a lot of data. So just we've taught the kids and different things like that. And we are observing their behavior, whether it's their academic progression or any behavior challenges that we're seeing. We talk a lot about observing and using what you see and put it into practice. And then last, they learn about child growth and development. So just truly understanding that all kids are different, all kids learn different, and just how to maneuver that. If I was in the infant classroom, then how I would teach an infant is different than how I would teach a toddler, and is different than how I would teach a preschooler. And so that is crucial because we need teachers to understand that, because a lot of times the teachers that are coming into our program, we may have hired them for a preschool position, but they may be coming from an infant background. So giving them the knowledge so that they understand that as you switch different age groups, kids need different things from you. So as a teacher, you naturally have to adjust to meet their demands. All right. I know that was a lot, but this is everything that they're going to be learning in that clock hour program. So like I said, some programs are as short as 10 weeks, 8 weeks, a month. Some are as long as 6 months or a year. It's really just based off like what that CDA program is offering and the support that they're giving in addition to it. So now that your teachers have gained their knowledge in a quality CDA program and received their 120 clock hours, the next step is the CDA application process. So this is a lot of confusion because a lot of times teachers believe that the money that they spend for their CDA course, once they finish the CDA course, they're going to receive their credential, and that is false. So you can look at the CDA course as like that's the university, but you still have to pay to receive your credential. All right. So you're just getting the education, but you go through the actual CDA council to apply for your CDA and to pay for your CDA. So that is an additional cost. So for the CDA application process, it is a $425 assessment. That's how much it costs for them to apply for their CDA. And when they apply for their CDA, they're going to be looking for a PD specialist, which is a professional development specialist. And this is the person that is going to review their clock hours, review their high school diploma and their GED. They're going to observe them, and we'll talk a lot about that just shortly. And then they will need to find a testing center because there is an exam portion that comes to it. So in the application process, they'll be paying for the assessment, and they will have to identify a PD specialist at that time. To find a PD specialist and a testing center, they will just go on the CDA Council website, and then from there they will be able to be connected to that information. So family questionnaires, a part of the CDA process is your teachers gathering questionnaires. So there's a questionnaire that comes from the CDA Council in the book that they purchase from the council when they go through their courses, that it has a copy of the questionnaire in there. They will pass the questionnaires out to the families in their program. And so the families will score them from 1 through 3, with 3 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. And they will score them on different things as far as their effectiveness as a classroom teacher. And this again helps your teachers grow, because then they will begin to learn where their area needs are, and how they can support their parents and the students in their classroom better. And so that's in the family questionnaire. So let's say, for example, if they have 20 students in their classroom, the goal is 50%. So for the CDA process, they need to receive back at least 10 completed questionnaires. So again, at the recording of this webinar, we are in the state of a pandemic. So for some centers, parents are not able to physically come into the classroom, and that's perfectly fine. So let me give you some alternatives to that. Your teachers can have their questionnaires and a clipboard in the front, so they can be filled out that way, or your teachers can send it electronically to the parents and have the parents fill it out online. All right, so these are just different ways that you can adjust to the times that we're living in. All right, 7. So there is a CDA portfolio. So your teachers will be responsible for putting together a portfolio. So the portfolio has different steps in there, and the portfolio is like, I like to call it their proof. That's what I tell my students. It's your proof. So you've learned all of this amazing information in your 120 clock hours, but I want you to prove it to me. So that's what that CDA portfolio does. So the CDA portfolio is broken into competency statement areas, where it's, say, for example, if it is health and safety, and that's competency statement 1, and there are a total of 6. Your teachers will have to write an essay about how they create a healthy and safe learning environment. And in the CDA book that they will receive, and I have one, it looks like this. So the blue one is family childcare, the yellow is infant toddler, and the green is preschool. So when they go through their clock hour program, they're going to get this. So when I teach through CDA, and when I'm with my students, I tell them, you want to have your CDA books so you're referencing them. So in this book that I just showed you, this is the competency standard book, and it helps them create their portfolio. So let me go back to that example of the healthy and safe learning environment. So they will have to create an essay explaining how they promote a healthy and safe learning environment in their classroom. And then they will have certain resources that they have to put in there. So for example, they would have to put in like a sample menu. They would have to put in a copy of their first aid and CPR. So, and there's a list, and it goes on, right? And so you want to help support them in this process. So when you're helping them pick a CDA class, then you want to make sure that that CDA class has some portfolio support in there, because a lot of the programs do not include that portfolio support. And even if the class itself doesn't give portfolio support, you want to make sure that company that you use, maybe they have a second class that just is a deep dive into that portfolio. Because I'm going to be honest with you, most teachers struggle with creating the portfolio aspect of it. And so you want to make sure that you are helping them by giving them the resources to connect to a CDA portfolio class. So they, so far they've taken the 120 clock hours, they have paid the $425 to apply for their CDA. And then once they have applied for their CDA, and they will get a notification from the CDA Council, and the CDA Council will send them what's called a ready to schedule. So this ready to schedule lets them know literally that they're ready to schedule the next steps. And the next steps is an exam and an observation. So the CDA exam is what they'll do at a testing center. It has different case study questions on there. So it'll give them a prompt like, little Susie threw crayons and she started kicking things on the floor. How should the teacher respond? So I just made that up off the top of my head, but that is just an example of a type of a case study that your teachers will see on the CDA exam, and they need to use their knowledge from the classroom and from their clock hour program to be able to answer that effectively. But then they also will have to complete multiple choice questions as well, and it will be based on their 120 clock hour program. That's why it's important that they are knowledgeable on that. So another frequently asked question that I get as well is, what is the passing score for the exam? There is no specific passing score. They do a formula. So they take the CDA exam results and they take the CDA observation results, and they kind of put that in that pot. And they don't tell us that formula, but they have a secret formula, and then they mix that together, and then they will make a decision on whether or not they feel like your teachers have shown that level of expertise that they're looking for. All right. There also is a Cda verification visit portion, and this can be a total of about 4 hours. All right. And so in that 4 hours, they will spend roughly 1 hour looking over your teacher's Cda portfolio. They will spend 2 hours actually in the classroom with your teachers, observing them and seeing what they're doing. And then they will spend roughly an hour reviewing with your teachers. So as a director and an owner, you want to make sure that you set your teachers up for success on the day of their verification visit. So just making sure that if their classroom needs anything as far as like decor, toys, materials, that you have it in there, all right? That you have it in there for them, and you looking out for them. If you know that they have to have that 1 hour recap at the end of the visit, then you need to make sure that your schedule is in order so that you can send someone in the classroom to relieve them, all right? And then also, let's just say that that teacher normally is in the classroom by herself. Bless her or him on that day and put an assistant teacher in there with them. I'm telling you, their nerves are already going to be on 10, okay? So give them a helping hand, all right? So if you can, give them a helping hand. How can you help them become CDA certified? What can you do as an early childhood boss to help your teachers become CDA certified? You can connect them to quality 120 clock hour programs, all right? You can give them an incentive to get their CDA. So if they get their CDA, they get raises. So for me, what I do when my teachers complete the 120 clock hour portion, when they get that certificate, I give them a 50-cent raise. When they actually receive their actual credential, I give them another 50-cent raise. So when they complete the process, they're getting that $1 an hour raise. You also can do bonuses, stipends like of appreciation for them. You can throw a party for them when they graduate, and make a big deal about it. You can frame their CDA credential and put it in the hallway, put it in their classroom, put it right outside their classroom, so you can let them know that you're proud of them. You can offer a scholarship for the CDA program, and this can be done in one or two ways. So for me, I pay 50% of my teachers' CDA clock hour program cost, and then the other 50% is payroll deducted, all right? All teachers are not eligible for this as soon as they enroll into my program, but it is a benefit that I have. So I take away the financial stress, all right? That's one option. If you're not in a place where you can financially assist your teachers in this regard, you want to connect them to an agency. So in the state of Texas, we have a program that I can reach out to my rep, and that rep will provide a Cda Program Scholarship. So that $425 that I was talking about earlier, that right there, you can get a scholarship for them so that either it'll pay the whole $425 or it'll leave them only having to pay $50. Because let's be real, we may have teachers who are hungry to get their Cda certification, like they really, really want it. But if they're only making enough money to make ends meet, then they're going to put this educational credential on the back burner. So if we can help them financially, then that's something that we want to be able to do. And now it's time for Q&A. All right, so let's see what we have. So our CDA has their candidates take a reading test before they can take the CDA class. Is that something that you require before the student can take your CDA class? No, I do not require my students to take any type of reading test before they enroll into the program. However, I will say that them taking a reading test or potentially some writing tutorials would be beneficial for them. So I know why that program does that, because like I said, I've been a CDA instructor for going on 3 years. And so I know exactly why, because a lot of teachers, they are amazing teachers in the classroom, I mean dynamic, but when it comes to the CDA portfolio portion, where you have to be able to read and write on a certain level, some teachers, it's a challenge for them. So no, I don't require that. However, if I am in my CDA program, I'm teaching my students, and I'm noticing that I'm having some students that are having difficulties with reading or with writing, then I support them. So what that may look like is I may send them some material that they can read and digest. Maybe if we're reading something and they can get the summary notes for it, then boom. Or maybe if I am teaching the information lecture style, I give them the opportunity to record the audio, or I record the audio and I send it to everybody. So for those who may be having a hard time reading through my notes, I'm giving them the audio version. So this is just me being a good teacher because I come from the classroom. Remember, I told you everything is based off, my experience in the classroom. So those are some of the tips that I've done when it comes to students who may need assistance with reading. And then for those who need help with the writing, because that's the biggest thing that I see, then I go find different YouTube videos that will help support them on how to write a complete sentence, how to use punctuation marks, how to formulate their thoughts, how to brainstorm an essay. Like these are the different things that I naturally just support them in. And actually, you as the director and the owner, this is something that you can do as well, just so that you don't make your teachers feel like you're singling them out. I would let everybody on my staff that's enrolling into the CDA program, I would give them that resource. So I would already have like a YouTube playlist together already with a list of different articles that can support them, and with different videos that can support them, and maybe have a Google Drive of different articles that can support them. And that's something that you send to every one of your teachers who is joining into the CDA program. So I do not recommend any specific college, all right? Because I don't know them if I haven't went through their program. So when I give recommendations, my word is my bond, and I feel like the recommendation I give is on behalf of me. And so if I don't have explicit knowledge as far as I know someone who went through that program, or I worked for that program, or I went through that program, then I don't me personally, I don't seek out that to give any type of referrals. But what I will tell you is do your research, look online, make a post on Facebook asking, does anyone know anybody that has went through a CDA program, and who did they use and what experience did they have? And so that may get your wheels turning on the different places that you can go to get that CDA. Do I recommend online trainings? Just in general, do I recommend online trainings? I do. If the if the teacher is an initiator, all right? So I did my master's program online. And when I first started my master's program, it was a struggle because I had a hard time adjusting to the fact that there's nobody physically in my face holding me accountable. Nobody. I have to do it myself. I have to read the information myself. I have to digest it myself. If I don't understand something, I have to seek that teacher out myself. And so for some teachers, that's difficult for them because you really have to be an independent learner. You really have to be a go-getter. You really have to have the discipline to log in, because when you're online, you have the flexibility to kind of go at your own pace. And because you have that flexibility to go at your own pace, some teachers won't move at all. Like they won't do the different things that they need to do because they're not as motivated. They don't have someone. When you're in the classroom and you know that you're supposed to be at that classroom every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m., then you're going to put a little extra into your step to make sure that you're there every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. because you know that if you come in the classroom and you don't have that assignment, that teacher may have a personal connection with you. So that teacher may call you out and say, hey, don't forget to do that assignment. All right. But when you're online, teachers, their workload is larger. I used to teach online courses for a local college. When I taught face-to-face, I could only have 25 to 30 students in my class. But when I taught online, I think they capped it out at about 60. So I don't have the personal rapport. And so for teachers who need that, then online training will not be the best method for them. All right. Do you think that a person taking the CDA should do a self-paced course? I think that I see benefits in it. I see benefits in a self-paced course if you have a lot going on. If you have a lot going on and you get overwhelmed easily and you want to be able to digest it at your rate, then yes, I would recommend a self-paced program, because your online program usually has a deadline to it. So for example, when I teach, then I may say, okay, I'm teaching a 10-week course. It starts on February 1st. It ends on March 16th. All right. That's the start and the end. So even though it's online, that student has to work within my guidelines because the class starts this date and it ends this date. For some people, they can rock with that. And then for others, they have a lot going on. They got family, they have kids, they have work, they just have a lot going on that they can't deal with that pressure. They would rather just digest the information at their rate. Okay. And so for that, I see the benefit. All right. I took a CDA program several years ago, but did not follow through getting the actual certification. I did not do it in the center hours, only in class hours were completed. Would I be able to use the hours taken? I already have to do the entire course over again. So you didn't get the actual certification. So you didn't get the CDA credential, but you did complete your 120 clock hours. If you have completed your 120 clock hours in the last 5 years, then yes, you can still use those hours. However, I would recommend taking the clock hours again to jog your memory so that you are successful in the exam, so that you are successful in the verification visit. That's what I would recommend. So it's just kind of up to you. So if you're within that 5-year range, and you want to just take that clock hour and just do the next step with the assessment, the application, and just kind of move forward with that, then you're perfectly fine able to do that. But my recommendation would be to, refresh that knowledge so that you're tip top for the classroom and for your exam. What is the difference between ECE and CDA? So if you can clarify that question for me. So ECE as far as an early childhood associate, or is the ECE a credential? So tell me a little bit about the ECE, and I will answer to the best of my ability in the meantime while I wait, or it might be the answer for you. I don't know. So a CDA is a national credential, which means that a teacher can live in Alabama and move to Ohio, and their CDA credential works the same. Now, in different states, you can do different things with the CDA. In certain states, you can be a lead teacher, you can be a director. In certain states, you can only be a teacher's aide with the CDA. So what they can do with the CDA will change based on the state that they live in. However, they can take the CDA everywhere. So CDA is a national credential. A lot of the other credentialing programs that are out there, a lot of them are state-based. So if you live in your state, you're able to use it. It's beneficial. But if you travel somewhere else, it's not recognized. But that CDA is a national credential, and that CDA is an extensive program where it deep dives into everything early childhood. Okay. So let me know. Okay. So if I own my own daycare and have never worked in a center, can I use my own hours? If I own my own daycare and have never worked in a center. Yeah. So you talking about your center? Yes. So it's just center hours, period. So if your state allows you to never have had experience in another center, but you're able to have your own center, yes, as long as you have those 480 hours in an actual center program, then you're perfectly fine. You can definitely use that as well. All right. So if you guys have any questions, you can kind of keep them going, even though we're getting ready to wrap up very, very soon. But if you have any other questions, you guys have had amazing questions, you guys can drop that there.
Yes, definitely continue to add to the Q&A box if you do have questions. And I wanted to thank you, Lakeshia. You were very informative. And I loved some of the suggestions that you made. As I really loved, like, once your teachers are done with the CDA, to make a copy and put it in a frame outside of their classroom. That's a great idea to show just how much you appreciate what they have done, and that you support them and you're proud of them. And it's a marketing benefit for families that walk by and see
Exactly.
it. Yeah, so that's an amazing idea. And you think, like, when as early childhood bosses ourselves, we are so happy to hang up our degrees in our office, behind our desk, or on our desk for parents and visitors to see. That's an accomplishment that that the teachers worked hard for. So that I really love that suggestion. And for anybody that joined in a few minutes late after I did Lakeshia's introduction, if I'm not mistaken, Lakeshia, you do teach the CDA class. So you would be able,
Correct.
right? Like, do you have classes going on right now that viewers can sign up for?
Correct. So I have different options. So I'm currently teaching a CDA class, and it finishes on February 11th. And then I will start my next group of students on March 16th. And so this method is a 10-week course for those who need more of that instructor support. We have some homework assignments. I provide portfolio support, but then I'm also teaching the lecture, and I teach very interactive. I'm teaching hands-on, and I teach with storytelling real life. Like, let's be real about what we see in the classroom and how we can improve. And so those are some of the things that I do. So I do have that available if you guys are interested in actually joining the instructor-led portion of the course, then that's March 16th. But if you are wanting the self-paced option, like someone asked, then I do have a binder that's available as well that allows them to work at their own pace. You complete all the exams in that binder and then you mail it in, and then you get your certificate mailed back to you. So those are for those people who need more of the self-paced version.
Got it. And Jasmine in the chat wants to know, this is virtual, right? Your CDA.
Correct.
Okay.
It's virtual. It's on Zoom. And I teach Tuesday, Thursdays, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time to 8 p.m. And so it is a 2-hour class on Tuesday and Thursday, but I promise, that I'm interactive after you've been at work all day. But yes, definitely.
Some people are asking for the information. Should I share in the chat the link that you sent me earlier?
Yes, so they can use that link if they want the self-paced binder. And then I also can send you the information if they want the actual like live instructor-led version, then I can send that information as well for that March 16th class.
Okay, and Nicole would like to know, is the self-pace a different price?
Yes, so the self-paced is a different price because of course you don't have that instructor support that goes with it. And so there's roughly about $100 difference from the self-paced to the instructor-led version.
Got it.
Okay, and
And
then do I
then,
have another?
yeah, the last question is just a clarification saying not center hours, but hours from licensed family home daycare.
Yes, as long as it's licensed, it's a licensed center, correct? Yes, so it can be verified. That's perfectly fine.
Okay, great. Well, if there are, actually, there's one more. Jasmine wants to know, how much is the instructor-led one? Is that the one on your screen?
Yes, so the instructor-led one is $427 for the instructor-led one, and the binder is roughly about $320 for the binder. So it's just kind of based on, specifically what they need.
Got it. Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing that information. In the video replay, you all are going to get it even if you attended live. I will also include the link that I just shared in the chat. And Lakeshia, if there's any other links to your products or services that you'd like to share, you can send them my way and I'll add them to the video replay page.
Okay.
And I wanted to just thank you once again for being here and sharing this really useful information and dropping so many different gems, even outside of just CDA related stuff. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we go?
I think that's everything. I hope that you guys learned a lot about just the CDA process and how you can use it to grow your preschool, how you can use it to market your preschool, pour into your teachers so that they can pour into your students. And so that's pretty much it. And on my page, I'm sure you'll have everything for them if they want to be able to follow me and things like that. I'm sure that that's located on that page as well.
Yes. If you have a specific email address that you'd like me to share, if people want to contact you privately, you could do that as well.
Okay.
And thank you so much to everyone who has joined us this evening, and I'll see you guys in next week's webinar Wednesday. Have a good night, everybody. And thanks again, Lakeshia.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.